In this video, we will talk about regression and regression analysis. Regression refers to a statistical method used to examine the relationship between one or more independent variable and a dependent variable. What it means? It means that there is a dependent variable that depends on various other independent variables, and the method to examine this relationship is called regression. There are two basic type of linear regression: simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. In simple linear regression, there is a one dependent variable and one independent variable, and when the number of independent variables increase from more than one variable, then we can say that it is multiple linear regression. Here y is equal to beta naught plus b1 x plus error term. Error term define anything like omitted variables or anything that this model unable to explain. X is a independent variable and beta naught is a coefficient. Y is dependent variable that is determined by this model. Same goes in the multiple linear regression, but here x1, x2 and further till xn, these are the other variables that determine the value of y. These equations are uh, calculated and can be used to predict the value of y in a given situation, or when we have the values of x1, x2 and the number of variables we have in the equation. By these independent variables we determine the value of y. So here we close the discussion of regression and we will move forward to uh, regression analysis. Now we talk about regression analysis. As the name suggests, we have already talked about regression. So analysis means to analyze the regression. So the components are written here: dependent variable, independent variable, linear regression, multiple regression, coefficient of determination, R square, residuals, assumptions, hypothesis testing. So first of all, what is dependent variable? Dependent variables is the variable that is predicted by the equation y. Second is independent variables, and independent variables is the variables. Independent variables are the variables that are cause or help us in predicting the dependent variables. And by using these variables, we have two type of regression: linear regression and multiple regression. Linear regression have one independent variable, and multiple regression have multiple independent variables. So that's why the name came from this variation, that one is called simple linear regression and the second one is known as multiple linear regression. Another important element of regression analysis is R square. R square shows that how much our dependent variable is explained by this model. The higher value of R squares indicates a better fit. Another important element of regression analysis is residuals. Residuals, also known as the error term. It contains all the disturbance, omitted variables, or anything that our model can't able to explain. Another important element of the regression analysis is assumptions. Uh, there are assumptions such as our regression should be linear, independent of error, homoscedasticity, and normality of residuals. There are basically seven or more than seven assumptions we will discuss in our later videos. The next component is hypothesis testing. based on the p-value and statistical value like t value or z value, we determine whether our hypothesis is accepted or not. So hypothesis testing is very important for our regression, because based on these values we conclude our results and conclude our analysis. So this is all discussion about regression and regression analysis. Uh, Further on in the next lecture we will see these topics in details, as these are just a go through on this component, as each component have its own detail